Good day, class. For this topic, we are going to have the radio sensitivity activity, and response. Okay, so by the way, what do we mean by radio sensitivity? Okay, so pag sinabi nating radio sensitivity, this simply pertains to the susceptibility. And susceptibility to the effects of radiation. So, simply pag mataas yung radio sensitivity ng isang organism or nung structure, the more prone siya na magkaroon ng effects ng radiation even at low doses. So, pagka mababa naman to, it will require high or significant level of radiation before the manifestation of the effects associated with radiation exposure. Okay, so on the other hand, pag sinabi naman nating response, this simply depends to the reactivity or gaano ka reactive yung yung isang exposed na structure or yung buong organism doon sa radiation or it can also pertains to the actual effect. Ayan, so the actual effect happened doon sa may tinamaan ng radiation. So ano ba yung naging response? So ano yung naging response doon sa radiation na tumama? Okay, so that is what we are going to talk right now. Okay, so in this table, as you can see, this is the summary of known or the commonly known human response to ionizing radiation. So we have two primary types na medyo na bigyan to ng konting glimpse on the previous discussion yung kanilang mga subcategories like si early effects sa si late effects. So ang mas early ang effect because of its threshold dose is etong si deterministic effect of radiation. So ano ang characteristic niya? Its severity increases with increase in radiation dose. So habang mas tumataas yung lakas ng radiation na nabibigay dun sa mga tinatamaan, mas tumataas yung tendency na mag-manifest yung mga known effects ng radiation. Okay, at we call them deterministic effects. So and we have subcategories of deterministic effect or yung kanilang yung mga tawag sa kanila kapag nag-occur sila sa mga respective organs. Okay, or yung response ng mga different organs sa effect ng radiation na-categorize under the deterministic effect. Ano ang main requirement? It must have a threshold dose. When we said threshold dose, this is the minimum amount of radiation that must be attained before the effect manifests. Or else, pag di sila na re-reach nung lakas ng radiation na dinideliver, no effect will happen or hindi mangyayari itong mga deterministic effect. Example niyan, yung acute radiation syndrome na i-discuss natin to in detail. Yan, yung mga death. Yan, so simple ang ibig sabihin niyan yung pagkamatay na nangyayari kapag na-expose sa radiation. And yung mga manifestation niyan, yung kanilang disease process, so we will talk about them sa mga subsequent nating discussion. And second na commonly known or categorization of this, yung local tissue damages, yung mga deterministic effects sa skin, sa gonads, extremities, and other related structures. As well with hematologic depression sa blood and the cytogenetic damage, yung damage sa genome or the nucleic acid, especially the DNA of the exposed tissue. Na as we know, dun sa cellular effect before, it could lead to cellular death or kung di man mamatay yung cell, it can result to malfunction of the cell. And then, on the second category of the effects or response of humans to ionizing radiation, na nabanggit din natin last time, stochastic effect. Ito naman, on the other hand, no threshold. So kahit anong dose, pwede siyang lumabas. Ang pattern niya kasi, the higher the dose, the higher the probability na yung chance na siya ay mangyari. So, but because it is a chance event, meaning even without radiation, it could manifest. So, kahit hindi necessarily na kailangan ng radiation para mangyari tong mga response na to sa sa mga organisms such as sa humans. So, for example na lang yung cancer, kahit hindi naman mga tinatamaan ng radiation or hindi directly radiation yung primary reason na kinukonsider, pero nagkakaroon sila ng cancer. Halimbawa, bone cancer, yung mga blood cancers like leukemia. Ayan, na mga commonly associated with radiation. Pero even kahit hindi radiation yung cause, pwede silang mangyari. And yung pag-add nga lang ng radiation sa factor, mas pinapataas niya yung chance na mangyari siya. Kaya when we are exposing our patients, especially at the diagnostic level, ito yung pinaka-main concern natin, yung stochastic effect. Because we never know kung yung ginawa mo, yung nangyari bang cellular damage or yung damage dun sa kanyang the genetic materials ng cell, in the years to come might result into cellular abnormalities like yung mga genetic damage na pinag-usapan natin na before, mga chromosomal aberrations, point mutation, na usually it will take years. It will take years rather na bago sila lumabas. So, kaya to lessen the chance na mangyari sila, we make sure to apply ALARA as low as reasonably achievable para maliit yung chance na mangyari yung stochastic effect because we lessen yung amount ng radiation na binibigay natin. Okay, so yun, ito nga yung mga example na yan na iisa-isahin din natin as we have our formal discussion with stochastic effects. Yan, leukemia, other malignant diseases like bone cancer, lung cancer, thyroid cancer, and breast cancer. As well with the local tissue damage. Yan, so yung ating mga skin, gonads, and eyes, almost similar, pero dito hindi siya yung non-threshold, yung sa discussion ng stochastic. And shortening of lifespan na i-clarify natin to dun sa part ng stochastic effect discussion natin. And as well, we have genetic damage. Yan, yung cytogenetic, doubling dose, and genetically significant dose. Na yung CGSD na bigyan na natin to ng emphasis before. So, siya yung pinaka-concern natin na pwedeng mag-cause ng mutation dun sa may gene pool ng current population na pwedeng maipasa sa next generation that might affect the evolution and evolution of the current human beings. Okay, so next we have the fetal effects of irradiation na napasadahan din natin to nung previous week. So we have the prenatal death. So pag sa prenatal death, ito yung namatay yung kinoconceive na supposed to be magiging fetus later, magiging pag deliver magiging infant. And so we call that prenatal death. So bago pa ipanganak, namatay na yung bata. Pag neonatal death naman, yung kakapanganak pa lang namatay na. Yan. So that's the difference between the two. So pag prenatal, bago ipanganak, pag neonatal, napanganak na. Tapos halos kakapanganak pa lang, namatay kagad yung bata. And we have the congenital malformation. So paglabas ng bata, may mga defects, may mga abnormality. So usually nangyayari yun sa period ng major organogenesis during that 2 to 8 weeks of conception. And the childhood malignancy, so na-expose yung mother nung pinagbubuntis yung baby, so pinagbubuntis yung bata. So yan din paglabas, ang naapektuhan yung bata, merong cancer. Paglabas pa lang nung bata, may cancer na yung bata. Then diminished growth and development, growth retardation, so which is often happening this one, especially the latter two, yung malignancy sa diminished growth and development, yung retardation post the organogenesis na part ng conception and post the 8 weeks of pregnancy. So kapag doon nangyari yung irradiation, ito yung mas sumataas yung likelihood, yung malignancy saka yung retardation. Okay, so yan, punta tayo dito kay these are some of the evidence of the effects of radiation that has been documented. Yung history nila mas i-explain natin pag pinag-usapan natin si stochastic effect. Yan, si stochastic effect yung may mga malignancy. Yan. So nakita sila sa mga some of them are mga medical workers, others are mga industrial workers like such as yung mga factories na gumagawa ng mga radioactive na mga devices, o also yung mga radiation survivors coming from nuclear meltdowns like sa Chernobyl, and yung atomic bomb survivors ng Hiroshima, Nagasaki sa Japan, and also yung mga naapektuhan nung mga nuclear testing ng mga bansa before during the World War time. Yung nagtetest kasi sila ng nuclear bomb. Yan some of the inhabited islands before na di nila alam may mga tao pala doon na, na napuntahan ng mga radioactive particles and mga some sort of gamma rays na nag-cause na itong mga effects na nakalay down dito. So, i-discuss pa natin sila in a more in a more detailed fashion sa ano natin, sa may stochastic effect discussion. Pero pa kung ano dito as a given here para magkaroon na kayo agad ng initial idea, yan yung mga sinaunang radiologists, leukemia. So, nung hindi pa ganun kasip yung practice ng radiology, mga atomic bomb survivors, kung mo nakikita sa kanila, mga cancers, yan, mga radiation accident victims like sa Chernobyl, some of them, sa kanila nakita yung isa sa mga unang mga early na na lethality or acute radiation syndrome, especially yung mga firefighters noon na nag-respond sa pag-meltdown ng isa sa mga reactors ng Chernobyl. And yung mga ito nga mga sa isla, Marshall Islanders, yung thyroid cancer naman, yung miners, lung cancer, yung mga watch dial painters, and yung mga sometimes they are referred as the radium girls, na they ingested a lot of amount of uranium, and kaya nagkaroon sila ng bone cancer at thyroid cancer from patients treated with iodine 131, yung mga children treated for enlarged thymus noon, ginamitan ng mga x-ray treatment, and unnecessary yung dose. Ang common nakita sa kanila, thyroid cancer, and tapos yung connected sa may Chernobyl, yung kumalat na yung radioactive contaminations nung reactor, yung mga children of Belarus na observed sa kanila thyroid cancer. At patients with ankylosing spondylitis, yan yung spine na way back before ang treatment ng mga spine disorders, especially yung masakit yung likod, ini-expose sila sa mataas na radiation, and later it manifests as a leukemia yung consequence. And patient undergo thorough studies, yung isa sa mga early contrast media natin na napatunayan after research na ano pala na delikado. Yan may lamang mga may lamang alpha particles, especially yung thorium component. So liver cancer yung naging effect niya. Irradiation in utero, na mention natin kanina, childhood malignancy, volunteer convicts, yan. Ito yung mga volunteer convicts, sila yung mga yung nakulong, na sentensyahan, so possible lifetime imprisonment. So instead na i-serve nila yung full extent ng kanilang sentensya, or kung ito yung mga bansa na may bitay, so yung mga nasintensyahan ng bitay o kaya yung lifetime imprisonment nga, so ang kanilang pinipili na lang is maging volunteer sa mga research. Yan, para at least may compensation na makukuha yung kanilang family after they die, after nung ginawang experiment sa kanila. And then we have the cyclotron workers, and yung mga physicists that observe yung generation ng mga radioisotopes as they are being accelerated through the cyclotron, na isa sa mga reactors na pag-uusapan nyo in the near future. So ang naging manifestation sa kanila, cataracts. And these are further will be discussed, specifically yung mga effects na to, as we have the stochastic categorization of the effects of radiation. Okay, punta tayo sa Law of Bergoni and Tribunju. So simply, sinasabi lang ng Law of Bergoni and Tribunju kung siya yung basis para masabi kung gaano ka sensitive yung isang tissues organ, cells, or the entire organism na ma-expose sa radiation, ano yung tendency na mangyari yung mga effects ng radiation sa doon sa mga tinatamaan. So, ito yung nagbigay siya ng four important statements according to this one. Stem cells are radiosensitive, mature cells are radioresistant. So, ngayon, from this statement pa lang, nagkakaroon na kayo agad ng idea na mas bata, mas young, mas, yan, susunod na statement dito, younger tissues and organs are radiosensitive. So dahil immature pa, hindi pa fully differentiated or mature yung kanilang function, so pag tinamaan sila ng radiation, wala pa silang masyadong protective mechanism. Parang yung mga bata, di ba yung mga bata, mabilis magkaroon ng sakit kasi yung immune system nila hindi pa ganun ka-develop. So ganun din sa concept ng radiation. So kapag mga bata, yung mga organs, mga tissues, o yung buong tao is bata, mas dangerous yung effect ng radiation. Mas mabilis sila magkaroon ng mga effects ng radiation na karaniwan mas mataas yung minimum required amount bago lumabas pagka adult. Okay, so yun. So on the adults, on the other hand naman, pagka mas medyo may age na yung na-expose, mas resistant na sila sa effect ng radiation. So meaning to say na nangangailangan ng mas higit na mataas na exposure level ng radiation bago mangyari sa kanila yung mga known na effects ng radiation. And so, yun lang yung basically sinasabi ng law of Bergoni and Tribon-Dew. And sabi po, continuing further, tissues with high metabolic activity are radiosensitive. Kasi karaniwan, yung mga batang tissue cells, they are rapidly proliferating. So mabilis silang mag-divide. And that is because bata pa nga or younger pa yung tissues, hindi pa siya kailangan pa nilang mag-mature, kailangan pa nilang mag-develop para ma-attain yung kanilang desired na function. So kaya nga pansin niyo yung mga bata, yung mga baby, tulog sila ng tulog. So and that constitute na yung mga cells kasi nila rapidly dividing. And yung ganong karakteristic na rapidly dividing, mataas yung metabolic property. Yan yung mga bata din, di ba kain sila ng kain. Lalo yung baby, walang ginawa kundi dumedi lang ng dumedi. So and that is normal with their current state kasi kailangan ng maraming nutrients for the cell division to facilitate more. And that makes them vulnerable to the effects of radiation. Kasi common tong mga ganitong characteristic is babalik dun sa umpisang number one na determiner ng sensitivity, which is yung age. So younger, na mataas yung metabolic activity, yung proliferation rate, mas mataas yung sensitivity talaga nila compared dun sa opposite na mga mature cells na hindi na masyadong nag-divide, na mababa na yung proliferation rate sa yung metabolic rate. So mas protected na sila o mas established na yung function nila para labanan yung radiation. So yun lang naman yung sinasabi dito ng law of Bergoni and Tribon-Dew. Okay, so siya yung magiging basis sa kapag tinanong sa'yo gaano ba ka-sensitive to sa radiation. Our number one basis is the law given by Bergoni and Tribon-Dew. Okay, next na part ng discussion natin. Let's talk about differentiation. Let's talk about differentiation. So differentiation simply pertains to the maturity and maturity ng mga cells or tissues. So from younger, ito yung mga younger na tissues and cell, ito yung process na nag-undergo sila in order to attain yung kanilang final na form. So pagka kasi nabubuo sila ng bata pa lang, they are immature. So wala pa silang specific na function. So coming from their stem cells, like yung mga omnipotent, pluripotents na mga stem cells during the mesenchymal tissues, nung embryonic stage pa lang. O nung embryonic stage, halos magkakamukha lang naman yung mga cells ng katawan. after differentiation, yung mga cells na magkakamukha na yan, meron ng magiging cells para sa dugo, may magiging cells para sa balat, para sa mga ibang mga organs. So yung process na yon ng pag-attain ng maturity and specific function para maging mature din yung katawan ng organism na nabubuo, we call that one differentiation. And so ang characteristic dito, so yung mga differentiated cells, so dalawa lang naman yung magiging category based on differentiation. We have the differentiated cells, versus undifferentiated. Okay, so yung mga differentiated cells, more resistant, mas mataas yung resistance nila sa effect ng radiation. So hindi sila basta-basta nadadamage ng radiation because they are mature yung kanilang function, mababa yung kanilang metabolic rate. So lahat ng pampa-resistant na nabanggit kanina ng law of Burgon and Tribunju is taglay netong ano natin ng mga differentiated cell because they have a mature function already. Example neto, for instance, yung ating neurons. Ang neurons, bihira nang mag-divide as they attain their maximal number during the childhood age, hindi na yan magdadami pa. Hindi na dumadami ang neurons. Ang nangyayari pa nga as we grow older, nerve cells are diminishing or decreasing in number. So yan, kaya pa di pansinin niyo pag habang tumatanda, di ba nagkakaroon na ng medyo yung memory na medyo nagde-decline na paunti-unti. And that is because yung mga neurons na nag-serve as the storage of memory is na sila, paunti-unti na silang nababawasan. And so, and that despite na sila na hindi sila basta-basta dumadami, meron yung protective mechanism, especially sa mga effects ng mga gustong sumira sa kanila. Example na lang nito yung ating radiation. So kung yung neuron ay sobrang bilis mag-divide, so pag tinatamaan siya ng radiation, mas mabilis siyang masisira. Yan. So pero dahil nga nilimit niya yung kanyang metabolic activity, proliferation rate, yan. So si neurons, kahit tamaan siya ng radiation, hindi siya basta-basta namamatay. So that's a good thing dito. So yung undifferentiated naman on the other hand, mababa yung resistance. Mababa yung resistance nila sa radiation. So yung mataas sensitivity, they have higher sensitivity to radiation. So example niyan, yung mga stem cells. Example, halimbawa, yung stem cells sa ating yung germ cells ng balat, yung sa may stratum basale. So yung basta mga germ cells or stem cells, yung hindi pa fully matured. Yan. So common yan sa yung during the embryonic or yung sa blood natin, yung mga stem cells ng dugo sa bone marrow. Yung common na dito na dangerous yung bone marrow ng yung bone marrow. Kasi dun sa bone marrow, maraming mga stem cells doon na later magi-differentiate para maging specific na types ng blood cell. So ang nila, mabilis sila magparami pero their disadvantage when it comes to radiation exposure is mabilis silang masisira ng radiation. Even yung tumamang radiation, hindi naman super taas ng dose na dala. Okay, so that is for the differentiation. Now let's talk about mitotic rate. So mitotic rate simply pertains to the how often cell divides. Gaano ka bilis magparami yung cell. Yan. So halimbawa nito, yung balat natin, yung may mataas siyang mitotic rate. So kaya nga nagkakaroon ng libag and every after certain amount of days, mga weeks, magkakaroon ka na ng libag kasi yun yung mga patay na skin cells na pinalitan na ng mga bagong cells na nag-migrate papunta sa labas ng balat. So pag mataas yung kanyang mitotic rate, as mentioned kanina doon sa ating Lopergon and Tribunju, anong effect nun? Mas mataas yung kanyang sensitivity. Yan. So example nga, skins, bone marrow. So they are more sensitive to or more vulnerable to radiation and to radiation effects. And babalik ulit tayo dun sa may law of Vergon and Tribunju kasi nga mabilis silang parami. And pag mataas ang metabolic and proliferation rate, mas prone sa effects ng radiation. Mitotic rate and metabolic rate. And another naman, sige, idagdag na natin metabolic rate. So pag sinabi nating metabolic rate, simply pertains to the yung pag-digest ng cell and cell digestion. Gaano siya ka-active when it comes to processing yung mga pumapasok sa kanyang molecules or substances, and which is affecting the cells repair capacity. Kasi kapag mataas ang metabolic rate, they are generally good for regeneration. So yun nga lang, dahil nga good sila for regeneration, they are often making themselves less protected against the radiation. So kasi ang kanilang mentality ng cells na to ay okay lang ma-damage ako kasi kaya ko naman pagalingin kagad yung sarili ko. Kaya pag may mga namatay na cell, mabilis ako magparami na palitan silang mga masisira ng radiation. So ang best example nito, let's say for instance, yung liver cell. Ang liver cell, mataas ang metabolic rate niyan. So especially yung mga kinakain mo, pinaprocess niyan bago pumasok sa systemic circulation ng katawan natin. Like yung mga vitamins, yan, even yung mga toxic substances dumadaan din sa kanya. Minemetabolize niya para maging safe. So because of it, it makes more vulnerable to the effect of radiation. So mababa yung Kapag mataas yung metabolic rate, mababa yung resistance. Mataas yung yung sensitivity nila sa effect ng radiation. So saan ulit ito babalik? Sa yung sinabi ng ating law of Vergone and Tribunju. Okay, next one. Okay, next one. Let's have the concept of cell survival and recovery. Okay, let's have cell survival and recovery. So, for cell survival, this simply pertains to the ability of the cell to live. Yan, even matamaan sila ng radiation. So, cell survival after exposure often depends on the ability of the cell to repair. So, saan to nakadepend? It depends on so nakadepend siya sa repair ability ng cell. Yan. So hindi naman porket kasi tinamaan, mamamatay na kagad yung cell. Remember, meron siya mga enzymes, meron siya mga chemicals that are capable of patching up yung damage ng radiation as long na hindi naman super lala nung pagkasira ng cell na meron pang mga kayang ma-salvage. Pero kung wala na talaga, sirang-sira na, doon na yung i-trigger ng cell yung kanyang programmable death na apoptosis. Pero kung hindi naman, it will undergo repair. Okay, so yan. This actually depends, usually nagde-depends to yung ating yung degree ng damage or nagde-depend yung repair sa degree ng DNA damage. And depends on the degree of DNA damage. And mas maraming genetic material lang sira, mas prone na magpakamatay na lang yung cell. Kasi pag di niya ginawa, magiging abnormal siya, mag-mutate, and much worse, pag nag-divide siya, maipapamana niya pa yung sirang DNA fragments dun sa kanyang mga daughter cells. Kaya nakadepend sa kanya yung cell survival. So pagka hindi masyadong sira, kaya niya pang ituloy yung repair. Pero kung marami nang nasira, more wise to or it's wiser to na lang to have the cell undergo self-destruction, yan, to avoid yung pagkalat ng mutated na genetic material. Okay, so and recovery on the other hand, can make the cell recover or simply continue to live or simply repair. Yan. So repair, yun lang naman din talaga ibig sabihin yan. Repair itself, even uh, with the exposure of radiation. So ang repair nila, usually dapat ang requirement not did not receive and did not receive a lethal dose. Na pamaya pag-uusapan natin itong lethal dose. Yan. So yung lethal dose. As long na hindi na-reach to, kaya pang mag-undergo ng repair for recovery nung ating cell. Ang ano naman natin, ang recovery, it's usually a product of repair. Product siya ng repair and repopulation. So pag repair, ginagawa niya pa yung nasira. So pagka naman yung repopulation, pagka repopulation, may pinaparami niya ulit yung cells na nabawasan dahil dun sa effects ng radiation. And so usually yan yung kung nagko-constitute ng recovery, yung repair and repopulation. Okay, punta naman tayo sa mga factors. Factors influencing survival. Okay, ito yung mga factors influencing survival. Na banggit na natin to kanina before, yung ating LET. So, ano si LET? Si linear energy transfer. So, pasadahan lang natin to kasi na-discuss naman natin to in detail nung last time. So, linear energy transfer. Okay, so linear energy transfer simply pertains to the amount of energy ng radiation uh, that is absorbed by the thickness of tissue, uh, that was penetrated, the thickness of penetrated tissue na dinaanan ng radiation. Okay, so sa madaling salita, ay yung let natin, habang tumatagos yung radiation, nababawasan yung energy niyang dala, napupunta dun sa mga dinaanan niyang tissues or mga structure. So usually, ang pattern natin dyan, kung maalala nyo pa, higher let, and higher let result to higher damage. Tumataas kasi yung RBE na tinatawag. Ano naman to si RBE? Si RBE naman yung relative biologic effectiveness. Example na may mataas na let, yung ating alpha particles. Yan. So, si alpha particles, mataas ang kanyang linear energy transfer. Kaya kapag nakalapit siya dun sa mga cells, it will often deliver a significant amount of energy that can destroy the structure of the cell that it came contact with. So, yung ano natin, yung RBE, yung magdedetermine kung gaano siya ka-effective na manira ng cell. So, relative biologic effectiveness, kasi meron tayong basis. Usually meron ang nire-relate siya sa test radiation or yung test standard. Yung standard natin. Sino ba yung commonly standard na basis ng mga effect ng radiation? Diagnostic X-ray. Kaya kung maalala nyo, ang diagnostic X-ray, ang kanyang RBE is 1. Yan. So siya kasi yung basis ng mga ano natin, ng iba pang mga radiation. And kung babalikan natin, paano nga computein tong si RBE? So si RBE, ang formula ng RBE natin is yung dose ng standard and dose ng standard radiation, which is etong si diagnostic X-ray over yung dose ng test radiation. And kung ano magiging quotient nila, ipinapakita nun kung gaano mas effective yung isang radiation sa paggawa ng damage compared dun sa lakas or sa damage na nagagawa ng diagnostic X-ray. Yan. So that's the concept of RBE. So kapag ka mababa naman yung let, mababa yung RBE. Katulad yung diagnostic X-ray natin. Ang diagnostic X-ray, mababa ang kanyang LET, kaya yung kanyang RBE mababa din. So, and ang consequence nga lang yan, kapag mataas ang LET, kasi alpha particle, so huwag kayong malilito, si alpha particle is considered the safest radiation, despite na may pinakamataas siyang RBE. Pero, that is outside the body. Kung nasa labas siya ng katawan, wala siya masyadong health concern. Kasi kung mag-came into contact man siya sa balat, patay naman yung outermost layer, so wala naman siyang papatayin pa. And remember, masyado siyang maglabas ng energy, kaya mauubos ka agad, hindi wala na siyang matitirang energy pa para lumalim or tumagos, reaching yung mga living tissues and cell deeper dun sa outer or most layer ng balat natin. Kaya si alpha particle outside, it is safe despite na siya ay mataas ang LET and RBE. But when the alpha particles accidentally enter the body, for example, yung mga accidental exposure o kaya na force injection, inhale, na ingest, yan, doon pinakadelikado si alpha particle if internal irradiation yung pag-uusapan natin. Okay, so yun, that's for the RBE. Now, another concept that is quite important to mention is yung ating OER. Okay, last time nabanggit din natin to. So si OER, oxygen enhancement ratio. Okay, oxygen enhancement ratio. So si OER simply pertains to the increase of the increase of damage by radiation in the presence of oxygen. So meaning, kapag oxic or maraming oxygen na available, yung effect ng radiation mas nagiging mapanira. Yan. So usually it can be computed. So I think last time parang napagbaliktad natin to. So pero ngayon i-correct natin siya. So yung dose necessary, and so the dose necessary under anoxic. Yan, pag sinabi nating anoxic, walang present na oxygen. So, deprived ng oxygen yung condition divided by yung dose na necessary under aerobic or oxic state. So, ito naman yung may oxygen. Mataas yung oxygen level. And mataas yung O2. Samantalang ito namang anoxic, mababa yung O2 or totally wala na talagang O2. So, yung dalawang dose na yung pag pinag-divide mo, makukuha mo yung oxygen enhancement ratio. Gaano pinababa ng oxygen yung dose na kailangan para mangyari yung effect ng radiation. Kasi nga, kapag present ang oxygen, mas nagiging mapanira yung radiation. Kaya kahit konting radiation lang, magpuproduce siya ng effect. Okay, so yan, so that is oxygen enhancement ratio. Okay, so okay, next one. Let's talk about fractionation versus protraction, or I think nabanggit na natin to sa mga previous discussion natin, pero dito i-formalize lang natin silang i-lay down. So protraction versus fractionation versus fractionation. Okay, pagka sinabing protraction, this is a continuous delivery. And continuous delivery of radiation over extended time. So meaning yung total dose ng radiation, hindi siya ibibigay ng isang biglaan. So kaya yung effect ng radiation, hindi siya malilesen na mangyari siya. Despite na, pag pinag-usapan natin yung deterministic, halimbawa, yung dose na nakakamatay para sa tao, yung lethal dose. Let's say for instance, 2 gray. So 2 gray whole body. Pag isang bigayan yon, mamamatay talaga yung tatamaan. Pero kung yung total dose na yan ay dineliver ng dahan-dahan, So delay, halimbawa sa loob ng isang oras. So hindi siya isang segundo lang na isang bagsakang ibinigay. So matagal, hours to days. Yun yung total na na dinistribute siya pero tuloy-tuloy. So ang naging ang naging effect is hindi malilesen yung effect ng radiation or hindi siya masyadong magiging dangerous or mapaminsala compared nung binigay siya ng isang bugso or isang isang bigayan lahat yung total dose na dinistribute over time. Sa fractionation naman, simply dividing the total dose and dividing the total dose into smaller doses. Yan, over time. Okay, so kung si protraction tuloy-tuloy, yung total dose, i-deliver siya ng tuloy-tuloy pero hindi isang bigayan. So fractionation naman, i-deliver ng isang bigayan lang pero putol-putol. Halimbawa, yung 2, let's say 200 rad. Yung 200 rad, ibibigay siya ng buo sa i-expose pero hindi siya yung 200 ng isang bigay lang. Halimbawa, hahatiin siya ng 4. So 50 muna ngayon, isang bigay na 50 ngayong day na to. Tapos sa susunod na week ulit, yung isa pang 50. So, merong in between na hindi na-expose ng radiation yung pasyente or yung isang organism. Yan na pero at the end ng session, kompleto pa rin yung total dose na target. So, halimbawa yung 200 nga, hinati-hati lang siya into 4, tig 50. Tapos yung 50 na yon, putol-putol. Merong relapse time. So, etong protraction and fractionation is often employed sa cancer treatment. Yan. So, kapag nando kayo sa subject ng radiotherapy, mababalikan niyo ulit tong konsepto na to. Siya yung reason kung bakit yung radiation hindi napapatay yung taong tinatamaan despite na high level of radiation yon because during those elongated time and yung resting time naa-allow nung dalawang to yung repair and recovery. And so nagkakaroon ng repair and recovery. Unlike doon sa mga treatment mode na or let's say yung isang bigayan lang dineliver yung radiation na in total, masisira talaga yung natin yung tatamaan niya kasi isang bigayan yung kanyang energy. Pero kapag pinutol-putol siya or pinahaba yung delivery, yung mga cells na tinatamaan is having time para i-repair at makarecover dun sa initial damage ng radiation. Yan. So that's the protraction versus fractionation. Okay, then let's go to the concept of lethal dose. Okay, pag sinabi nating lethal dose, simply this is the amount of radiation. An amount ng radiation. Amount of radiation. Amount of radiation required to cause death. To cause death to the organism exposed or dun sa population na inexposed ng radiation. So simply, this is the most devastating. So kasi dito, talagang namatay yung tinamaan ng radiation. Oftentimes, this is a high level of exposure. So kung sa tao, around ang lethal dose para sa human is around 2, yan, 2 gray whole body. And ito yung dito, ang clarification, yung 2 gray dapat ipapatama sa buong katawan, hindi yung papatamaan mo lang yung isang part ng katawan ng pasyente. So ang mga machine naman natin, especially yung pang-diagnose, hindi mo ma-expose ng isang buuan saka hindi mo ma-reach siya tong 2 gray. Kaya wag ka nang umasa sa diagnostic x-ray na makakapatay ka ng tao. Hindi naman naka-program 'yon or Okay, so continuing our discussion. So yan, etong 2 gray na to, hindi naman siya naka-program na kung ipapatama siya rather ng isang parte lang ng katawan, hindi siya nakakamatay. Pero kung buong katawan ma-expose, it can produce na yung mga syndromes ng radiation lethality na pag-uusapan natin sa mga susunod nating topic. Okay, so yung mga machine natin sa radiology, like yung diagnostic X-ray, is not capable of performing yung buong katawan ma-expose kahit full blast mo pa yan, hindi naman mako-cover ng buong katawan hindi naman mako-cover ng machine yung buong katawan. So, kaya hindi siya talaga nakakamatay. And yung level of operation ng X-ray niya is hindi kayang abutin yung dose na 2 gray. Yan, sa ibang machine, dun to possible. Pero sa diagnostic X-ray, hindi, kahit sabi mo pang sinusunog mo na, hindi mo talaga mapapatay siya na dahil ang minimum requirement for death to happen for humans is 2 gray, full body exposure. Okay, sige. Last na part ng discussion natin. Let's talk about the systemic response. Okay, let's talk about systemic response to radiation. Okay, last na topic, systemic response to radiation. Okay, number one, in this group, let's talk about the hematopoietic or the blood. Hematopoietic or the blood system. Okay, ang primary concern natin na effect ng radiation sa hematopoietic system or yung blood-forming organs is the bone marrow suppression. Okay, remember, yung bone marrow, especially yung red bone marrow, diyan nanggagaling yung mga blood cells na magdi-differentiate para maging part ng dugo natin. So, halimbawa, yung red blood cell, which is important for the transportation of oxygen, yung platelets for mitigating yung blood loss. So, yung yung hematopoietic is a very important, and karaniwan siya yung una nagre-respond sa radiation exposure, yung pagbabago ng blood cell count. And dahil dun sa pagka-expose ng bone marrow, especially the red bone marrow. Aside from ang common nito pala, consequence ng bone marrow suppression, possible yung anemia, yan, yung pagbaba ng red blood cell, neutropenia, yan yung mga white blood cells, and yung thrombocytopenia, yung yung para sa platelets, yan, thrombocytopenia. Okay, next one. Let's have the integumentary system. Okay, for the integumentary, ito naman yung skin. And so, ang common na natin na si skin is quite radiosensitive among sa blood, mataas din ang radiosensitivity. Mataas ang sensitivity niyan. Along with the skin, mataas ang sensitivity niya. And mataas din yung kanyang sensitivity. Ang common na nakikita nating effect ng radiation sa skin is erythema, yung pamumula ng balat, parang sunburn, yung pagkasunog ng balat dahil sa radiation. Erythema, nandyan din yung dryness na later pwedeng maging desquamation, mababakbak na yung balat, and in severe cases, necrosis, pagkamatay nung balat. And yun nga yung pwedeng mag-lead dito, yung desquamation, yung mababakbak na yung balat ng pasyente na namatay. Okay, next one. Let's have the digestive system. Okay, so digestive system natin, ang main concern, intestinal lining. Yung portion na nag-absorb ng mga sustansya ng kinain natin. So yung intestinal lining, yung mga germ cells doon is highly sensitive, mataas yung sensitivity. Mataas yung sensitivity nila sa radiation. Ang common na manifestation ng damage sa digestive system ng high doses ng radiation is yung nausea, nausea yung pagduduwal, yung pagsusuka, and yung diarrhea. Yan, yung loose bowel movement, nag-LBM. Yan. So, ang pinaka-dangerous dito na magiging ano niya, magiging effect dahil hindi na nakakapag-absorb ng maayos yung bituka, malabsorption, yung mga important nutrients, yung mga vitamins, yung sustansyang kailangan ng katawan, hindi niya na ma-absorb yan or yun nga malabsorption and dehydration. Yan, pati yung tubig hindi na alam kung paano siya makakapasok doon sa bloodstream natin kasi sira na yung lining. Okay, next one, urinary. O, syempre pag dito sa urinary, ang concern natin mainly is yung kidney and yung kanyang associated structures such as the urinary bladder. So, yung common damage ng urinary system na nakikita natin is yung renal failure na pwede ring masira, mamatay yung kidney kapag tinamaan siya ng sobrang taas na radiation. Pero that is medyo intermediate yung sensitivity netong si urinary. So, renal failure at pagka nga sa mga early manifestation na nangyayari ng renal failure, meron ng hematuria. Pag sinabi natin hematuria, yung pag-iihi na may kasamang dugo, yan, nagkakaroon na nag-failed na yung kidney. Okay, the fifth one is yung ating respiratory system. And respiratory. So for the respiratory, mainly dito yung lung, yung baga, ang main concern natin where the gas exchange is taking place. So ang common na associated problem sa radiation exposure ng baga, fibrosis, so yung dating elastic tissues napapalitan ng mga scar tissue na, so naninigas na yung baga na common to nakikita din sa mga yung heavy smoker, yung fibrosis ng baga and reduce lung capacity. And medyo hindi na nakakapag-expand ng gusto yung baga kasi nga naninigas na yung baga. So, and pneumonitis. Yan, yung pneumonitis, yung namamaga. Yan, pneumonitis. Namamaga yung baga dahil dun sa damage na nagawa ng radiation. Okay, next one. Let's have the muscular system, reproductive rather. So, reproductive muna. And reproductive. Okay, under the reproductive, syempre yung mga gonads, yan yung ating the ovary and the testes, and where the sex cells are being produced. So common problem natin dito is yung sterility, kung stochastic kung masyadong mataas, and sterility. So usually this is happening mga pag super taas talaga. Ito yung totally nababaog. Yan at hindi to kaya ng diagnostic X-ray So yung super taas na radiation exposure yan bago mangyari yung mababaog sa radiation. Mamamatay lahat ng germ cells ng sex organs. And we have yan nga ovarian failure. Yan, ito yung dysfunction ng ovary and testes. Ovarian and testicular failure or yung dysfunction na tinatawag na nag-aano na siya or simply dysfunction. Nagmamalfunction yung production nila ng sex cells. Okay, seventh, we have the muscles. Sa muscles naman, ang muscle is mababa ang sensitivity, mataas ang resistance niya. Mababa ang sensitivity katulad ng ating neurons. Yan, sensitivity. Ang concern kapag naapektuhan na siya, pwedeng magkaroon ng atrophy. So pag sinabi nating atrophy, lumiliit yung mga muscle. Nawi-waste out na yung mga cells nila kaya nagliliitan. So na-damage ng radiation masyado kaya mag-shrink yung muscle tissues. We call that atrophy. Then pag lumiit na, yung malapit na siyang totally namamatay na yung muscle tissues, magpa-fibrosis din. Ay, maninigas yung muscle. Dating elastic, dating flexible yung muscle, ngayon matigas na. So fibrosis, muscle fibrosis. And we have the nervous. Okay, for the nervous system, ang pinaka main concern natin dito si CNS, the central nervous system. So ang ano natin, ang nervous system, mababa ang sensitivity niyan. So, kailangan ng super taas na radiation dose bago siya maapektuhan. Coming from the nature of the nerve cells that making up this system. Okay, so anong pinaka main concern naman sa effects? Sa kanya pwedeng mangyari yung mga radiation sickness na iisa-isahin natin sa susunod na mga discussion. Yan yung mga radiation sickness. Yan, and neurological deficits. Siya yung pinaka nakakatakot mangyari. Kasi karaniwan to, yung pag nangyayari sa nervous system damage, death ang image ang lurking na mangyari. So more one way or another, it's sooner to happen. Pag nervous system ang na-damage at nangyari na tong radiation sickness, mamamatay talaga yung ano. So kahit ano pang medical intervention in the history ng exposure to radiation, kapag naapektuhan ang nervous system, walang kahit ano pang gamot or treatment ang nakakapagsalba sa tao na naapektuhan yan. Yan. So na talagang ikinamamatay nila. Okay, so kaya yung specificity na ito, meron pa kasi itong specific details, pero dun to sa discussion ng acute radiation syndrome, pag pinag-usapan na natin yun sa mga susunod na topic. Okay, so lastly, other organs naman dito na hindi nabanggit. Halimbawa, yung endocrine. Sa endocrine natin, yung mga glands, yan, endocrine. Yan, yung mga glands. Halimbawa, yung thyroid. So pag naapektuhan yung thyroid, it might result to some hormonal imbalance. Not just thyroid, pasok din dito yung pituitary and other ano. Kaso nga lang pituitary kasi karaniwan to bago siya maapektuhan, nervous system damage na yung radiation sickness na yung nangyayari. Ang common concern itong si thyroid. Yan, si thyroid na nasa leeg natin. Kaya kapag sa mga procedure na gaano tayo, nagsusuot tayo ng mga thyroid shield. Yan, so hormonal dysfunction or hormonal problem. Especially si thyroid ang nagme-maintain ng proper metabolism. So pag nasira siya, magkakaroon ka ng metabolic disorders. Pwede ka maging hypo or hyper, saka yung calcium homeostasis kasi nagpa-participate din si thyroid. So maapektuhan. And so yun yung iba pang concern. Okay, so hanggang dito muna tayo ngayon, and yung iba pang details ng mga effects na to, pag-uusapan natin next discussion. So for the meantime, hanggang dito muna, and hopefully you've learned something from this.